All right. Good evening, everyone, or good morning, depends on where you are. It's Saturday, 15th of August, here in Lapland, about 11 p.m. Looks like Saturdays is the day for me to do the podcast, the weekly podcast for you guys. I don't know why it happens like that. Maybe because I noticed that the week is ending. Time flies fast, so I have to do another podcast. Yes, the sun is already set here in Rovaniemi, so it's already dark outside. It's a little bit unusual to have darkness. Time changes so fast here. The theme of today's podcast is going to be autumn in general in Lapland. Why you should visit in autumn? I know that not many of you have visited in autumn. It should be, for most of you guys, I think it's winter, and then summer, and maybe then autumn. And autumn is on its way, so that's why we're going to discuss that. As usually, you can watch our podcast live on this very Facebook page and record it on YouTube. And you can ask me questions in real time, and I'll try to answer you on our topic of autumn, on maybe some other topics, as you like. And you can find our podcast on all the major apps, including Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and so on and so on. And please subscribe to the podcast because it will help us grow and other people will find us more easily. So we have a few friends here joining the chat. We have Filippo, Ryan, and Katinka. Hope you're doing well, guys. I'm doing perfectly fine here. About 1 or 2 weeks ago, it was the first time that I've smelled autumn in the air. So that's right, I didn't see it, I didn't hear it, I just smelled. It just, the air was different. It was a little bit more cold, a little bit more moist, and there was this kind of, autumn leaves kind of flavors, although there is no autumn leaves on the ground yet, but there is some kind of, this kind of earthy flavor in the air. And of course, the nights are going much longer here with every night. For a couple of hours, it's already dark enough to see northern lights, if they would be the big northern lights. We haven't had big northern lights yet, so half of the horizon still stays quite bright in mid-August, so it's not easy. It has to be a very big one that you can notice it. So we haven't had those yet, but of course you'll be the first to know when we will see the first northern lights in Lapland. I'm really hopeful it will be during our next week. If not, maybe in 2 weeks, I think it could be possible. One of the podcasts that we did a few weeks ago was dedicated to northern lights. So you can find that podcast and get to know all of the little details that will help you see them here in Lapland. And as you might know, autumn is one of the best seasons for northern lights, so you might find that episode, I think it was number 5, or was it number 4? I think it was number 4. And then we did about food. I'm not sure which one it is, 4 or 5. There are too many already, which is a good thing, of course. So we have Jolene joining from Minnesota in the US. I'm really thankful for all of you guys watching our stuff from Lapland, and of course do send hello to me in the chat and ask you questions if you have any. Of course, talking about tourism now, we are not experiencing the best time for that, so I might be a little bit teasing you with all of this imagery and stories about Lapland. But the one thing I know that we have to remain very cool and very optimistic, because it's all going to be fine. Don't go into, the berserk mode. Don't trust everything you see online. So just keep it cool. We're all going to be fine. It's absolutely nothing, and we just have to be patient. And if you have some extra time to spend, so try spending it creatively, spending it with your loved ones. So I think it will be the best direction for us. So another important announcement. I'm developing the podcast in this way. We are adding another camera here on the video podcast on Facebook and YouTube. So I'm not sure yet what I'm going to show you, but I will show you some of the products we have on our online shop, and maybe we'll start with that. Of course, it's a little bit like practicing for me, operating several cameras at once, and let's see where it will get us. Hopefully, I'll be able to do such multi-camera live podcasts for you from outside the studio, but for now, I'm still practicing inside in a more controlled environment. So, Katinka is saying, Roy Pabissa oli koronatapaus, eikö? So Katinka is asking about a corona case in a local bar, and I have been following that closely. Yes, indeed, there was. There was a lot of screaming, and I mean, screaming not by the people, but by the media, like it's going to be a horrible thing. And actually, they found out that this only one person that was in this bar did not infect anybody. So they've tested almost everybody and no one else was infected. So it's all going to be fine, guys. We just have to, do the Zen thing and not notice the chaos around us and remain cool. And that's kind of a similar story. There were multiple stories like this. There was some person with the corona case, and the media was screaming like we're going to die soon, and nobody died, nobody even got infected. So that's that's what I really mean. I'm not really want to go in that sphere anymore. We're going to continue with our autumn theme after I answer a few questions. So we have Ian Simpson here and asking a question: can you come to Lapland in winter in a wheelchair if you can't walk? Technically speaking, yes. Finland is one of the most friendly countries for people in wheelchairs and also for parents with their carts, pulling kids around. We have quite good situation, especially in the cities. You can get into all of the, public buildings, restaurants, if you're in a wheelchair. Even if you go in nature, you can move around in a wheelchair in snowless time. When it's snow, it gets a little bit more difficult in the nature or some kind of the hiking destinations that you would get access on a wheelchair. There is a path wide enough and firm enough to move around even in the forest. So these kind of areas, I would say they are a little bit off limits for people in wheelchairs because there's so much snow and it's very difficult to keep it leveled. But all of the major resorts and cities, they clean snow pretty regularly. Of course, there is sometimes snowstorms, so it's not easy to get around. Even if you are not in a wheelchair, even if you are just on a bike, it might get impossible. It might get slippery, but that's nature. So you have to keep these things in mind. But generally speaking, Finland is a very friendly country for people in wheelchairs, and I warmly welcome you to come and experience that. And maybe you can tell your own audience about traveling in wheelchair in Lapland and share your experiences with others as well and compare to other countries. We have another question. Gary is asking, hello from the UP of Michigan, USA. I'm not sure what UP is. And the question is, have you ever been to the USA? Yes, I have. About a year ago, 1.5 years ago, we took our very first trip to the US with my wife to New York because it was very easy to get there with Norwegian. We flew direct flight from Rovaniemi to London, then changed our flight and landed in JFK. I have to say that I absolutely loved my New York experience. It was amazing, like in a movie. Everything was sort of familiar and sort of new. I really enjoyed all the culture. I think there is so much interesting things to see and just ordinary things like how everything is so big in the US, how everything is so customer friendly. I mean, even comparing Starbucks in the UK and USA. You're coming in New York Starbucks, like there's young people here and there, and they are smiling, they're very friendly. And when when we got back to UK to the airport, we went to Starbucks, and when we had like very impolite services, so I really like this kind of small things. Of course, we visited all the major attractions in the New York, and we actually were supposed to go another time in March. And of course, as you might know, that trip did not happen because 4 days before our flight, the borders were closed, so we didn't get to go there. But maybe it's a good sign. So another year we'll go somewhere else. I'm really excited to explore the other states in the US. So we have a beautiful country, very, very vast country that needs to be explored as well. Liz is saying, I love your posts, you are very genuine. You've given me a wonderful new perspective to part of my ancestry. Love, from Michigan in the US. The UP is the Upper Peninsula. Thank you for clarifying that. I still have no idea where is Upper Peninsula, but I'm sure I will check it out. Now I sound like a stupid American who doesn't know where Finland is or Europe is. I'm sorry, being too sarcastic. So without further ado, let's go into our theme, and this is autumn. Autumn is already knocking on our doors. It is an amazing season, perhaps the most relaxed season out of those in many ways, and I'll try to explain why. It's also very beautiful because of the autumn foliage, and of course it's the time when nature calls us outside to see its beauty and to experience different things. Right now we are still technically in summer, the second part of our summer, when we have nights. Autumn will begin in about 2-3 weeks, depending on where we are in Lapland. It will begin a little bit earlier in the north and a little bit later in the south of Lapland. Lapland itself as a region is very vast, spanning 500 kilometers, 350 miles. So even inside Lapland, you have different kind of climates and regions, so it's not uniform. And you might still think that it's more summer than autumn, but the first signs of the autumn are already here. A few yellow leaves here and there. Some foliage is not that green anymore, but it's still warm. There is still lots of sunlight, and there is lots of fruits of the forest waiting to be found. The second part of summer and beginning of autumn are also some of the best seasons for hiking for many reasons. Not only because of the natural beauty, but also for the fact that there is considerably less mosquitoes around. Of course, there are a few here and there, but nothing compared to, this swarms of mosquitoes and different kinds of, insects that are looking to feast on you in the middle of the summer. So, natural beauty, autumn foliage, and absence of mosquito make it a perfect hiking season. Before we go on, we'll answer another question by Ian. I'm an adult, 55 years, but would love to see the Christmas. Sun to experience the snowmobile, the northern lights, etc. Is this possible, please? Yes, naturally it is very much possible. Actually, it's not only possible in Christmas, because Santa is here to meet you 365 days of the year. Northern lights are starting soon, in a few weeks, already in end August, until early April. If you come on Christmas in Rovaniemi, you will be able to experience this Christmas feeling and Christmas beauty in its full glory. Although if you come in different months, anywhere from November till February, it's still very Christmassy in Rovaniemi. It's a little bit different in March. There is much more sunlight. It doesn't feel that Christmassy anymore, although Rovaniemi is very much Christmas city in any kind of season. So I'm sure you'll be able to experience all of that. We are also having Julia saying good evening. Hello, Julia. Nice to see you. And Kadinka is saying that the best time for hiking is when it gets cold in the night. Yes, that's exactly typical for the autumn hiking. So you have to be prepared for different kind of temperatures. Kind of really warm in the daytime, up to 15 and even 20 degrees centigrade. Lots of walking, so you might be only in your t-shirt, and at night it might be freezing, so you have to have some woolen underwear, some proper sleeping bags, and some other gear. Of course, talking about hiking, you don't necessarily need to hike for a week in Lapland and get lost in Lapland, although that's quite interesting as well. You can also go on a shorter day trips, take a few photos, and come back to your hotel or cottage. That's totally fine as well. Another great way to explore nature in autumn is, of course, with mountain bikes and fat bikes with a little bit wider tires. You can choose your own path, or you can use some marked paths as well. Of course, the autumn foliage, this yellow, vibrant kind of color, it's the main thing about autumn that people come here to see. It's really amazing when all of a sudden all of the trees change their color, and it looks absolutely amazing in the sunlight. When there is no sunlight, it looks less amazing, but usually autumns have plenty of sunny days to enjoy the views. And there are different kinds of colors for the autumn foliage. Also, the ground changes color completely. For example, blueberry leaves, which are normally green, they turn vibrant red. So you have this kind of play with different colors, yellow and orange and red on the trees, and also this kind of red to earthy kind of brown on the ground. So it's really amazing to see those in person. And summer and early autumn are some of the best time to forage for berries, especially for blueberries, although they might not be around anymore when we go more into September. But regarding lingonberries, September is one of the best months to forage for lingonberries. The red berries, which are very healthy, very acidic, so it's a little bit, it requires a little bit of sweetening to eat those, like a little bit of sugar or honey, or just make a good old jam out of those. We have some new viewers tuning in from Montreal, Canada. Hello, Anne. Thanks for joining the stream. We are discussing autumn on today's podcast, and we are going to move forward. So, the best season of autumn probably comes in the middle of September. So this is when the autumn foliage is at its best. I would say second to third week of August, second or third weeks of September are the best to see autumn foliage. However, it might be a little bit different in northern areas. You might experience autumn foliage a little bit earlier, and in Rovaniemi area it might be the third and the fourth week of September, although it changes to the season. So if you're coming to Lapland in early September, I would suggest going up north, and if you're coming a little bit towards the end of September, it might be that the best views to be seen a little bit more south. And of course, we call the autumn foliage season in Finnish ruska for these beautiful colors. So you might see or hear that word around here. One of the reasons I like autumn, as I've mentioned, is that there is a certain kind of mood, a peaceful mood in the air everywhere, and you just feel it. It's very difficult to explain. You get more spiritual, I guess. You kind of understand things more clear, and you experience autumn with different kind of senses. Not only looking at it, you are smelling it, because autumn has this certain kind of aroma or flavor. So it gets pretty interesting when you get out in nature. You can just freeze your thoughts in a way. Something that is much easier to do in autumn than in any other season. Perhaps times a little bit more hectic in summer when there is lots of sunlight, lots of energy, you're doing stuff, and in autumn nature comes down and you kind of feel this vibe everywhere and you calm down yourself as well, especially when you're visiting nature. So it's a perfect time to go out and enjoy simple things like a sip of water from the wild stream, and the waters here in Finland are indeed pristine, so you can just grab your cup like the ones I have here, Kuksa cups, and just drink from the pure and fresh stream. It's a kind of not something you can do everywhere nowadays, unfortunately. So getting back to our autumn. Once the autumn foliage starts to fall down, then you're kind of a little bit late to see the beauty if you haven't already. So usually it happens towards the end of September, beginning of October. Then it's kind of the season is already, the best part of the season is already through, and it gets darker, it gets moodier, a little bit spookier, I would suggest. And end of September and beginning of October is usually when we have night frosts, and on a regular basis. So you might find out that the grass is frozen in the morning, not snowing yet, but frozen, and then it's gradually gets melted by the sun during the daytime. By mid-October, I would say that we are definitely in the end of the autumn season, and also the water starts to freeze at night and might stay frozen even in daytime. And as I've mentioned during many times, autumn is a wonderful time to see northern lights, starting from about first or second week to September until mid or even end October. You have like the sweet spot to enjoy the lights. Speaking about activities, even though you don't have natural snow yet, you might have some. You might have a small layer, a few centimeters or a few inches. So it's not enough yet to enjoy all of the winter activities. Yet you can enjoy some winter activities. Many ski resorts, for example, have learned to preserve their snow from winter time, and they keep it under special kind of blankets that don't let it freeze over the summer. Well, some of it gets melted, but most of it stays intact. So as soon as those cold autumn nights begin, they take the snow that they have collected and they spread it around, and you can actually go skiing. For example, Alpine skiing. One of the most forward-thinking ski resorts in this way is Ruka Ski Resort. They usually start their alpine skiing season in the first week of October. So about 7 weeks from now, we'll be able to do alpine skiing already here in northern Finland. And other ski resorts such as Levi Ski Resort and Ounasvaara Ski Resort in Rovaniemi, they will also follow in a few weeks. One of the things you can also do is cross-country skiing, and for example in Rovaniemi, during many autumns, there is a possibility to do cross-country in autumn time as well. And when we have first snowfalls, then basically autumn ends. It might happen as early as mid-October, or it might happen a little bit later in November, so that kind of, depending on the snow, you might count when the autumn season ends. It might be a little bit later, or it might be a little bit earlier. So I see that we have lots of new guests joining our stream. We have Stuart, we have Greece here, and we have Yoshi from Japan. I'm really grateful for tuning in. And Kaori is saying, my son really miss picking berries in Finland, and she also says, your summer is really nice, as everyone knows. Yes, summer is still here for about 2 short weeks, but as we are getting into the autumn time, we are discussing what kind of interesting things we can do here. So, next we are going to go through a few tips on what you can do here in autumn in Lapland and what kind of destinations you might visit, and also hear some of my autumn experiences as well. We have Ruby joining from Mexico. Hola, ¿qué tal? Hope you're doing great there. So, Rovaniemi is actually one of the greatest places to visit in autumn time for several reasons. One of the reasons is that you have a wide variety of services and things to do in the autumn, while in some resorts up north they still might not be fully open yet, so you have a little bit wider choice here in Rovaniemi. Of course, you can visit our cultural attractions such as the Arctic Museum in city center. You might enjoy the autumn foliage here as well. Another great cultural attraction is the Karundi House of Culture, and they are doing some new things there, new art every season. Speaking about Santa, we had a question about Christmas, so you can meet Santa Claus every day of the year, including the autumn time, and it's open now times as well. You can go for short hiking trips in Rovaniemi, and one of the best areas to visit is of course Arctic Circle hiking areas. Speaking about our question from Ian, I think it was Ian who asked about the wheelchair. The Arctic Circle hiking area, depicted on our video podcast, is the accessible area in Rovaniemi. You can go there by car. Of course, we have taxis that serve people in wheelchair, and you have wide tracks everywhere, paved tracks, paved with wooden planks, so you can move around freely, and you can visit beautiful island that the suspended bridge leads to. You can go all around the island on a wheelchair, and of course by walking as well. You can visit beautiful wilderness barbecue place and have a little picnic there, and of course enjoy some views of the rivers in the area. And Arctic Circle hiking area is spanning for about 10 to 12 kilometers in the north of Rovaniemi, about 30 kilometers north from the city. Actually, you can even stay there in Arctic Circle hiking area. There is a very nice resort there, which is called, I think it's called Arctic Circle Wilderness Resort or Lodge. They've changed name recently from resort to lodge or other way around. I don't remember which one is the correct one, but yeah, I'm sure you can find out online. Berry picking is very hot right now in Rovaniemi. Lots of locals go and forage for berries. Of course, we forage for buckets, but you can collect a small cup and enjoy that during your picnic, or you can take it home with you to the hotel or cottage, and bake something there as well. And of course, you can go for a little picnic, bake some sausages, do a little table for yourself in the wilderness. The picture that we're looking online is from Fel Santa Vara, which is actually very easy to get to. Unfortunately, it's not accessible with wheelchair because there is quite a rocky path, but you can still visit that and have a little picnic there and enjoy beautiful sunset over the Ounasjoki River, one of the best views in town. And of course, you must love autumn for these moody nights that are quite amazing to experience. And me myself, I like taking lots of different pictures in autumn using some extra lights to bring this kind of mood out there. Speaking about hiking, I'm going to present a few products that we have on our shop. We have traditional kuksa cups that you might use for hiking. They are reusable and they can serve you for basically almost a lifetime, or at least a few decades. And those are made from birch gnarl, and they are the real deal. We have several options, several sizes, including some with the reindeer horn as well. Lately, I've been also using a modern version of these cups, made 50% from wooden fiber and 50% from recycled plastic. The difference between the two is that the traditional cups are not machine washable, although they're a little bit more beautiful, of course, well, much more beautiful, considerably. But the modern cups are really nice as well. You can machine wash them, so they don't require as much maintenance, and they're quite light and durable as well. This material can also be used to make different kinds of hiking utensils, and these are basically my own that I have. You can, on the video podcast, you can see some scratches. I've been eating from those, so they're very durable. Usually we sell the stuff that we really like, so I've been using those for several years, and they have served me really well. You have quite a range of these products. They're called kupilka, and you can find those on our online shop, aurorashop.fi, and you can have 15% discount from everything we have on our shop, not only these products but any kind of products. So if you enter code thank you while checkout, you can have the 15% discount from everything. Of course, you might also enjoy something sweet. We have great blueberry chocolate. Actually, me and my wife Julia, we enjoyed a bar of this chocolate just before the stream. I'm not a big fan of chocolate, but I like to enjoy some very good chocolate once in a while, so I don't like this basic stuff. I like the good one, and the blueberry really comes out of this product. So one more thing that I want to recommend to you from our shop, and I recommend it really from my heart, and this is what I've been using myself. These are the Superfood Products from Lapland, from the company called the Arctic Warriors. So they use local herbs and different kind of plants medicinal plants to um, make you feel better and more protected against all kinds of diseases. You might know that in autumn time, influenza and all kind of flu stuff gets more active. So in the old days, I used to have flu pretty regularly, but nowadays I don't have flu at all. Of course, I haven't tested this for corona. I'm not saying that it will help, but what I'm saying is that if you're building your resistance towards different kind of elements with natural products, it will help you considerably. The blue product here called Mahti, it's the gel that contains nettle and Angelica archangelica. This is what I take when I have any kind of flu symptoms, and usually they disappear quite quickly in a matter of few days. While before, when I wasn't using those, I used to have flu pretty regularly, so I was out of the game for a few days. So this Mahti product, the blue one, is what I recommend. You have those in different packages. You have them also in the bottle. This is my heavy user bottle. I put it in my tea, and it's elixir that you can drink from the spoon, like this one, or you can put it into different stuff. And you have a taster package, where we have 10 bags, 10 uniquely packaged bags like this one that you can take on a trip with you or just test the things out. So go check these products out on our shop, or shop.fi, and we're very grateful for everyone who has been supporting us and ordering stuff from us. We ship worldwide. We have good quality stuff that is produced in Lapland, Finland, and Scandinavia. So all kinds of authentic stuff: reindeer hides, wooden products, reindeer horn products, and everything that we like ourselves. So moving on with our podcast, we are going to see different kind of activities that you can do in autumn time. So we've discussed hiking extensively, and you can also have some guided activities as well. You can have aurora hunting tours, because you have very good activity in autumn. You can go see different kind of animals, such as reindeer. You can visit reindeer farms. There is one in Santa Claus Village. And you can also visit the huskies. In later years, the husky kennels have adopted wheeled carts, which are very handful handy, not handful, which are very handy for autumn time. By using those, the kennel people can condition the huskies, so make them ready for the winter season using these carts, so they can run the same way as they would run in the snow, but using these wheel carts. They cannot really do that in the middle of the summer because it's too hot for huskies, but as it gets below 10-15 degrees centigrade in daytime, then you can start having some short runs with the sleds, and this is a great time to make the huskies fit for a winter season. And of course, you can also come for a short ride yourself in one of the best husky kennels that we know in Lapland. Is called Bear Hill Husky, where the photos on our video podcast come from, and I can warmly recommend to visit this place in any season. They can accept visitors in any season, even for a small tour, and of course for rides in autumn and rides on the snow in winter time. So we have a message from Julia Welsh. If we didn't want to use destination land for accommodation next year, would you recommend anyone? Destination Lapland are great, but was wondering if there's any others. So speaking about Ylläs, if you're talking about Destination Lapland, it's one of the biggest cottage providers in Ylläs area, which I can recommend. Ylläs is a great area to book cottages because there are many, and other areas have lots of cottages as well, including Levi, Saariselkä, Ruka, and even Rovaniemi nowadays. So usually you can book cottages from the official sites of the regions, like levi.fi or ylläs.fi. If not, you can use your usual booking sites and look from there. So that's what I usually do. Or you can contact your favorite cottage owner directly without any kind of, people or companies in the middle. If you have been traveling a few times in Lapland, you might know already what you like and the people that you're comfortable working with. So that's kind of my advice. I hope I have answered that for you. So let's move on to another destination, and let's visit Luosto this time. Luosto is and Pyhä is beautiful natural area about 1.5 drive north from Rovaniemi, featuring several beautiful fells or small mountains. On one of the mountains they have found natural Enmity Stone, and instead of digging everything with the machines, they decided to make it a tourist attraction, and you can go there and dig for your own Enmity Stone. And we have found our Enmity Stone as well with my wife Julia. Actually, I have an Enmity Stone here that I found. Now I have this overhead camera to show you the stuff. So this is the natural Enmity Stone that I found. I have actually found many of the stones because I have visited many times, but this is the kind of stone that you can find there naturally, and you can take it with you if it fits in the palm of your hand, like this one. Recently they have found a huge stone there. I think, something like this size. almost like this size. So just a regular random tourist found this big stone there, and of course he or she could not keep it because it's a little bit too big. So they have retained the stone for them. But you can take the small stones like that, and if you find like a bigger stone that can fit in the palm of your hand, you can always negotiate for buying that, and usually they are pretty flexible with the prices. But it's an amazing place to visit, especially in autumn time. You can enjoy the full natural beauty of Ruska season, of autumn foliage there in Luosto and Pyhä, and of course you can have wonderful findings. Now on our video podcast we're seeing another kind of stone that my wife Julia found. It had black quartz on top and amethyst on the bottom and white quartz in the middle. I think we still have this stone somewhere, and actually I think we're going to have some amethyst products on our shop as well, some stones that you can also buy, that we will source from the amethyst mine. We will source some products for them, maybe some jewelry as well. We have to think about that. So in any case, I can warmly recommend visiting Luosto area. There's also a national park nearby where you can go hiking just for a day or even a few days. So I think I'm going to have a little sip of water because I'm mixing words already. So here we go. Next we're going to go to Ylläs. I really love Ylläs, especially in autumn time. Ylläs has lots of nature around, so it's very easy to enjoy the autumn foliage there. Starting from end of August you can see some autumn foliage because autumn comes maybe a week or 10 days earlier there than in Rovaniemi. Still you can enjoy pretty summery activities such as canoeing. Last year, on the last day of August, we have made a beautiful canoeing trip from Akaslampalo Center to the national park. It was pretty amazing. Not a very easy experience in terms of physique, but no one forces you to go a long way. You can rent a kayak there in the Aikaslampol downtown and just, have a little go in the local lake there. But we went a little bit further. Of course, it's amazing to be in national park, in Pallas National Park there in autumn, taking beautiful pictures and enjoy some picnics and some views. And you can often bump into different animals in Ylläs and have some nice pictures, especially the reindeer. They're quite cute ones. Ylläs is also one of my favorite spots to search for the Northern Lights. And one of the coolest things about autumn is that when you're taking pictures of Northern Lights on the shore of a lake or a river, you can often capture the reflections in the water, and that's just what we did on the last day of August 2019. Actually, we did lots of things on that day. We went kayaking first, and then we've seen some beautiful Northern Lights later in the evening, so that was pretty epic end of August for me last year. From here, we're going to move directly to one of the most northern parts in Finland, to Kilpisjärvi area. It is situated right on the border with Norway and Sweden. And one of the landmarks of the area is the beautiful fell Saana, which was a sacred and still is a sacred place for the local indigenous Sami people. Kilpisjärvi is so amazing for different kinds of hiking, even short ones. Usually what I do in Kilpisjärvi, I still book a cottage where I stay during the nights, but I go and explore nature in daytime everywhere around. And the reason for that is that I have so much photo gear that I'm not really comfortable taking some hiking gear such as tents and whatnot, so I'm more comfortable roaming around during the daytime with all my cameras and drones and stuff like that. And I can go in the early morning, I can go back and have some sleep, some comfortable sleep at the cottage, and cook some nice meals. The natural views and the colors in autumn are totally awesome in Kilpisjärvi. You can experience all different kind of colors there during the same night. And this place just makes me kind of, stop and think it's eternal, and you have a kind of a connection to that eternity while being there. Kilpisjärvi, of course, is one of the best places in Finland, if not the whole world, to spot the Northern Lights. Currently, it's a little bit too bright up there in the north, still too bright to see Northern Lights. But in about 2 weeks' time, you'll be able to see the first Northern Lights in Kilpisjärvi area, and they'll be shining there from early September until early April. I would say almost non-stop. It's just so ridiculously easy to see Northern Lights in Kilpisjärvi, like easier than anywhere I've been to in the whole Lapland. Of course, up there, nights will get really dark only in the middle of September, so there's still a substantial amount of light in August in the extreme north of Lapland, and it's unbelievable. It's a little bit difficult to describe with words, but you have to find yourself in nature at midnight or 1 a.m. out there without, any people, any kind of distraction, just the stars, the sunset colors, and then boom, the Northern Lights. One of the most interesting places to visit in Kilpisjärvi area is a so-called three-country Cairn. Cairn. I'm sorry, I cannot pronounce that perfectly. What this means is that there is a geographical point in Kilpisjärvi where the borders of 3 countries meet. Sweden, Norway, and Finland. And this place is marked by a huge yellow kind of stone, and there is a pavement around the stone, so basically you can run around and shift between the three countries in a matter of seconds, which is quite cool. And this place has been famous for already about 150 years, and a place to visit. You can hike there, which is a little bit longer trail. It's about 12 kilometers one way. I think so, it's 12 kilometers one way. Anyway, the path is substantial, so you can either make it if you go really early in the morning and you come back the same night, or you have a tent with you and you make a stop when you get there and you go back next morning. However, there is also an easier way. There is a cruise ship which starts from Kilpisjärvi, which can take you there. It wasn't exactly the cheapest way. It was, if I remember correctly, 30 or 40 euros per person. I might be wrong, but it was a substantial price. But that's what we did, and it took us 10 kilometers closer than we would have to walk. So we'd only have 2 kilometers to walk from the shore, and that's what we did. And we visited this place. So it was a nice day trip, and while going on the boat there, you can enjoy beautiful views over the Kilpisjärvi area. The stay there was a little bit too short for me because I was taking lots of imagery, videos and photos, and while going back we were the last ones out there, and I actually had to call the ship back and tell that we're a little bit late, so they would wait for us. And there was a grumpy old man who didn't really like that, but we were only a couple of minutes late, like literally 1 or 2 minutes late, so it wasn't a big deal in the end. So these are the options that you have for visiting that spot. Moving on, we can teleport ourselves to the region of Utsuyoki. That is on the north and northeast of Finnish Lapland. It's an amazing area as well, just as Kilpisjärvi, with lots of wilderness and lots of barren land, which just stops you with this minimalistic kind of imagery around. Utsuyoki has the beautiful autumn foliage with the dwarf birches. When you start driving from Rovaniemi up north, at some point you will see that the big birches get smaller and smaller and smaller until you don't get big birches anymore. You only get what is so-called dwarf birches, which are really, different and kind of angular in their structure. And the autumn foliage that they receive is absolutely amazing. And last autumn we made a beautiful trip to Utsuyoki, where we were shooting a musical project for a local band, Lapland Military Band. And for one of the projects we teamed up with the local Sami artist, Anna-Maret, depicted on our video podcast. And Anna-Maret sang a beautiful yoik song, a Sami song that we recorded out there in the wild. We recorded the video, not the sound that I mean. We recorded a beautiful music video for the Lapland Military Band. I'm sure you are familiar with that if you have been following our channels. We have the music video on our YouTube, so you can go to YouTube and find all about Lapland there and find this 5-piece music video production that we made from Lapland Military Band. And one of the episodes of this production takes place in Utsuyoki exactly during the time of the autumn foliage. Speaking of that, actually I think it's time to share that link once again, and I will share the link in the near future as well. Speaking of that, I think I'll just find our YouTube channel and I'll send you the link, guys, in the discussion here, so you can watch it a little bit later. I'll call it Autumn Foliage Project in Utsuyoki. So there you go. You should have a link there in the comments. If not, then our next post tomorrow morning will be about that project. Of course, you don't have to be, taking pictures or videos to enjoy the beauty of this region. It's totally amazing to be outside in mid-September in Utsuyoki. There are so many places that you can visit quite easily. Don't need to go even that far distance from your car. I'm sure we're going to discuss Utsuyoki and other regions in more detail about what places you can visit inside that region. We're not going to do that now. Suffice it to say that it's totally awesome during autumn. So now we're going a little bit more south from Utsuyoki towards the Ivalo village and the inner region. So we've come down 200 kilometers south from the most northern part of Finland into Ivalo, which is 300 kilometers north from here in Rovaniemi. Ivalo is an amazing place to visit in autumn time as well. It has one of the most northern, actually right now it's the most northern working airport in Lapland, and you can fly there from Helsinki as well. Last September we made a beautiful visit to Ivalo, to Aurora village, and enjoyed some of their tours as well with a couple of friends. It was totally amazing. We went on a forest trip on the fat bikes, so mountain bikes with wide tires. Went and visited a few of the lakes. Enjoyed a total awesome colors of the autumn, including the red color on the ground, maaruska, and autumn foliage. And for a few moments we were just frozen there, just experiencing this kind of calmness and natural beauty and this kind of really peaceful vibe. It was something to remember and something to experience for you guys as well. On the same night, I think it was the same night, we've seen one of the biggest aurora storm of the whole season there in Ivalo, and it was totally amazing. So the reason that autumn is so good for northern lights is because the activity is so much higher in autumn than even in midwinter, and we've discussed that on our podcast as well in our previous episode, so go find that. For one of the images I went on the rock and with my light and took a beautiful picture, and next day I sent it to the news media, and it was one of the Reuters and I think it was the Guardian's, I'm not sure, some of the big media's top pick of the day. It was chosen there, and the experience was so immense that I've even made some postcards with that same image which I took at this night, 27th of September 2019, and you can order these wooden postcards as well on our shop.fi. So I have several of my favorite pictures as the postcards from autumn, and of course from the other seasons as well there. Even on some regular nights, let's call them like that, you can see some small northern lights, but if it hits big, then it hits really big, and it's truly the best time to visit mid-September to mid-October, truly the best time to see the northern lights. There is not so much people around. There is tons of options that you can stay in, including the glass igloo cottages, and I can warmly recommend Aurora Village for that experience as well. and for any kind of, autumn exploration. So I think you have a very good idea now of why autumn is one of the best seasons to visit. I hope you've enjoyed this podcast with me, and we'll see you in the next one.